Over the next hour, you're going to learn some insider knowledge that will help you overcome and strategize in the cutthroat world of real estate. Now, here are your hosts, John and Roberto.
Welcome, everybody. This is episode 97 on Marbella, Spain, playground of the rich and famous. We're going to find out, and we are live in Marbella, Spain, and we've got three special guests and a special co-host this week. My special guests are John Brendmo, wave to us, John, from the Antima Group. I've got Pia Arrieta of Diana Morales Properties. Wave to us, Pia. I've got Peter Burriston of Marbella Estates. Wave to us, Peter. There he is. And the creator of today's show, my good friend from Christie's Estates years ago, Øyvind Olstad, who's usually in Norway, but has flown down to Marbella because that's where the party is. Right, Øyvind? So wave to us, Øyvind, to say hello. Okay, that's him in the green smoking jacket, about to go to the party. Before we get started, I want to present our sponsor, Grace Farms, a nonprofit organization close to our hearts, located right here in New Canaan, Connecticut. Grace Farms is home to Design for Freedom, an initiative focused on ending forced labor in the building materials used for our homes, offices, and public spaces. Join us, support this noble cause by enjoying Grace Farms' exceptional coffees and teas, knowing that 100% of profits directly contribute to Design for Freedom. Use promo code BURBS at sharegracefarms.org. sharegracefarms.com for a 10% discount on your first order. Join us today and be part of something greater. And on that note, something greater, let's talk about Marbella, Spain. Let's begin with Øyvind. Can you hear me? Why are we talking about Marbella, Spain today? What's so important to know about Marbella?
Primero, bienvenidos a España, bienvenidos a Marbella, bienvenidos a La Zagaleta. Welcome to Spain. Thank you very much for the nice introduction, John, and Roberto as well. I'm happy to launch this possibility in Spain. We are in the beautiful villa in La Zagaleta. We were supposed to have Mr. Brendmo together with me here, so we could have a showing around the house. But you know, it's a party here, so you can hear the sound maybe. So we are going into. Maybe I'll show you a little bit more of the house later. But you see here is the marble. And I'm going up the stair now. It's a beautiful stair, you see. It's gold, everything is gold there. I'm going into the, this is a party. We are having this broadcast in the master bedroom. Because that's the most silent place in the house for today. So I'm going in here now and then we will meet the rest of the guys. Bienvenidos.
Okay, Øyvind, it's a little bit difficult to hear you. I'm going to turn it over to Pia, and I'm going to ask Pia. Now, Pia Arrieta is of Diana Morales Properties, an affiliate with Knight Frank, who's our associate, who is basically the name in real estate in Europe. So you are a Knight Frank representative, and you're a specialist in the Marbella market. Is that right?
Yes, correct. So our company has been here for over 30 years. I actually know you also from the Christie's era, because we used to be Christie's affiliates as well, about 10 years ago. So we've been here for a while and we've always specialized in the higher end of the market.
And you live in Marbella year round, or do you go between Marbella and some other place?
No, I was born here, raised here, and I live here permanently. I've been abroad for several years studying abroad, but then I sort of realized that Marbella is a pretty cool place to live.
So this is your website, just showing this while we talk. So this is considered the Gold Coast of Spain, is it not?
Yes.
So tell me why. Why is Marbella the Gold Coast? Why is it not, I guess, I don't know, Ibiza or Menorca or any of the other places I've heard of? Why is this considered the pinnacle, the best of Spain, and for many, the best of Europe?
Yeah. It's an interesting question, which we actually always ask our clients, because obviously we deal with people that can pretty much live anywhere they want around the world. So we consistently ask them, you know, what is it that made you choose Marbella over other destinations? And basically it's a combination of ease of flights to most of the major European cities. So Malaga, the airport of Malaga, which is about 60 kilometers away from Marbella, which is where you fly into to get to Marbella, connects with around 33 countries, and about 140 cities in Europe and outside Europe. And actually since June, you probably know this, United Airlines started a direct flight between Malaga and New York, flying into Newark Airport. So that'll be sort of ongoing every year between June and September. So ease of access, you know, for people that either want to live here or just, you know, a lot of people work remotely, so they might be living here and then they might just hop on a plane every couple of weeks to go back home to their headquarters, to their main office. And within about 2.5 hours, 3 hours on a flight, you're back home. So that's one of the main reasons. Another one is climate. We have about 320 days of sunshine here. So a lot of outdoor activities. Winters are quite mild. Summers aren't as hot and as in other southern Spanish cities. So we have a sort of a microclimate. We have a really lovely mountain just behind the city of Marbella, which creates a sort of optimum environment and keeps the temperatures quite stable. Security, it's quite a secure place, so you can walk around at whatever hours at night you want and feel relatively safe. And there's a huge international community. So there's a lot of international schools. You've got German, you've got French, British. So,
yeah,
you know, for
you
people
so
coming
clever.
from...
But John, I have to stop because the thing is what we need to talk with John Brennmo now because he's going back to his dinner. So we have to do 5 minutes with John now.
Okay,
Is it
go ahead.
Okay, John? Yeah, because I have to go to bed.
All right.
Yeah, so
let me introduce John Brendmo of Antima Group. I'm going to show your website, but tell us, what is Antima Group, John?
Hi guys, Antima Group. We are one of the big luxury developer here in Marbella, and we have running our company here for 10 years now. We have houses from 30 million euro till 5 million euros. So we have been, let's say, in the luxury segment where the people going for the high-end houses where we fill them with absolutely everything. So this is Antima Group where you can buy a home and you can live like you do in the hotel, more or less.
So according to Antima Group, it's their Antima Homes, where you create bespoke homes and estates. You're also offering furnishings and a hotel in Oslo and shopping and dining destination forum. So there's a connection between Oslo and Marbella, is there not?
Absolutely. We have been in hospitality our whole life. Now we are running Paris. We're running a new shopping mall here in Marbella, where you can dine and where you can do luxury shopping, 26 stores. And we're doing almost 10 properties a year. And at the moment, we really work on Zagaleta. Zagaleta, it's a place where it's extremely safe. It's a great view. And the houses are surrounded by golf courses, tennis, Nice view, only 5 minutes, let's say, from Marbella center, from Marbella downtown, Marbella club, etc. So people who want to live a quiet life, they are searching for houses up here, and you can find houses from 5-6 millions up to 30-40 million euro.
John, can you explain to us that's a neighborhood that you created on about how much land, and how are their homes, condominiums? Can you give us just a general sense of what it is and where it is?
Absolutely, sir. We have around 450 houses. They are all in Zagaleta, starting in 1993. Okay, so in 93 to 96, it was developed 4 sections: A, H, F, and A1 was the 4 big major sections. They sold out these 4 sections with 150 houses only in 2 years. They building golf courses, they building infrastructure, and they building clubhouse with tennis, gym, shop, etc. And they create a dynamic of these 150 people together with a maintenance company and a helicopter company. Zagaleta come quite fast into the generation who is now, let's say, the second generation. So at the moment, there is a lot of older people who want maybe to move back to their country where they come from. And now it has been an extremely hype for young people, for the next generation, to buy houses here. So we have a lot of tech billionaires, we have a lot of rock stars, people who simply want to have a quiet place to live without too much security reason or too much people around. As you can see from Øyvind, we have spectacular sea view into Africa, into the Atlantis mountain, and to Morocco. So most of the house have spectacular sea view, golf view, and have big sites and big villas.
Now, Pia was pretty excited about United Airlines flying direct from New York City. Are you sure you want a bunch of guys like Roberto flying in direct from New York City?
It is.
Of course.
How is that going to change the complexion of Marbella?
No, Pia has totally right. Now there has coming more 5-star hotels and more airlines than ever. I think that today the people have 3 choices. There is Miami, there is Dubai, and there is Marbella. And people want to live in these 3 regions. You cannot live in Dubai the whole year because it's too hot. And people come here to Marbella to have a second ordinary home. There is not anyone who comes here for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. After the COVID, people has been able to work from home, and they want to continue to work from home. So we have now a possibility of a secondary home where actually the whole family comes to Marbella for 365 days. And we as citizens who lives here, we feel that we can see that there is not any high season longer. There is fully packed in Christmas, there is fully packed in Easter, and there's fully packed in the summer. So people using Marbella now as a secondary home, 24/7, 365, and this is the beauty of Marbella with the 340 days with sun.
And when I go there,
I'm sorry. I was thinking about something. It was really important, John Brennmo, that you tell them that this house you're going to create this as a new house. You know, this is not new anymore. So you want to create this as the best standard.
Let me explain that. We have now a dinner with 400 people in 10 minutes. I will introduce today 5 clients who has bought houses from us from the last four weeks. So the last 4 weeks, we have sold 4 houses for 100 million euro. This is clients who believe that we can make magic, and they even buy our house before we are finished. They buy the house because of the view and because of the Antima creator team who make really magic. So they put all the trust in us, and we make their dreams come true in the next 12 to 16 months. So we work extremely close with brokers and extremely close with the clients that they come with. And then we create their dreams. And we make tailor-made homes with tailor-made furniture in this ambience of La Zagaleta. And the houses are all big. They have hairdresser saloon, bowling, indoor pool, outdoor pool, and they have kind of what we can see in the States from before. And a lot of our clients are Americans, and Swedish, Belgium, UK are most of our clients. So it is a new trend in Marbella that the Americans actually want to move to Marbella. Tax reason.
Are these lots within Zagaleta that people are buying and then you are building their houses on?
Yes, sir. There is actually existing house and there is land. So we have a combination of land, what we call the diamond land, who has all the three factors of seeing the helipad, seeing the golf, seeing the clubhouse, and also seeing the sea. Atlas Mountain are so short distance away in a beautiful clear day. You can see Gibraltar, you can see people actually in Africa with lights in Africa, and you can see the sunset, and it's a very special atmosphere in Zagaleta because it's also on the mountainside, so the temperature is quite better here than it's downtown Marbella.
So what's the entry point in order for John and I to split a lot and live in Zagaleta? Like, what would it take for us to be there?
It will take you, first of all, you go through a trusted broker. You have some really good ones on the podcast today, and you buying the plot or you buying the land, and then you can easily make your dream come true. And in Benahavis, that the town hall here is named Benahavis, and they do the license work in only 2 months. So it means a benefit from the buyer and benefits from us who building this home, because when you're building home on search of 16 months, we save money and the client save money as well. So it's very predictable, it's very transparent, and it's very easy actually to buying the house that you want. And you can also rent it out by the concierge service or by the Antima maintenance team. We do everything from hosting to chef to massage to driving to whatever, the clients need.
Let me ask you, if I have $5 million, can I get into Zagaleta or not?
You can get into Zagaleta, yes.
For $5 million?
For $5 million, we can find a home for you, and we can start renovate the home for you if you doesn't like what you see.
I want to introduce Peter. I know you have to get to that dinner. Will you come back to us when you're done eating?
I will come back to you guys, and I will say thank you so much. I hope to see you here in Marbella. Thank you for being part of this beautiful podcast, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much,
John.
Peter, well, first of all, who is Peter? Peter Burston is of Marbella Estates. What is Marbella Estates? What is your perspective on Marbella?
Well, Marbella Estates is a real estate agency which I founded together with a partner over 30 years ago. Myself, I'm Swedish, but my family used to have a home down here since 1978. So when I was way younger, I used to come here on holiday. And like a lot of people, love the place and stay here.
And are you an agent, a developer, a promoter, or just a resident?
No, we are mainly an agent, but we are also a developer. We just finished a project of some beautiful modern villas about 2 months ago. So, but our main business is a traditional real estate agency. And we work, for example, very closely with Antima. And as you already understand, they do absolutely beautiful properties. Like the one you can see Oyvind filming now. Look at that view. Amazing.
Yeah, where are you now? Is that a private home?
It's a private home in La Zagaleta. So I was actually sitting right next to John. And in a bit, we'll go down for dinner as well.
And how much is that house, if I may be so gauche?
Well, this house is under
Maybe you know it.
refurbishment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry?
How much?
It's under
So-
refurbishment.
Okay.
Pia, are you jumping in?
Yeah, no, I can only comment on the last listed price before it was sold.
That's fair.
Which was 18 million euros.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And what size is that house, more or less?
how big is it?
I can't remember, to be honest, off the top of my head. Maybe if Oyvind is around there, he can give you an estimate on the plot and the built size.
So Pia, what I'm really curious about is the comparison with Miami and Dubai. Miami is a big city. Dubai is also on a very big scale. So I understand the comparison with Miami, where there's a great deal of luxury real estate. It's a very international vibe, and it's a southern city in the United States. And Dubai, I get that, another playground of the rich and famous. But is Marbella really on that scale? I mean, I've heard about the Golden Mile, and I think of it on a smaller scale, much like, say, St. Bart's. So how do you compare it to a Miami and a Dubai? Is it really that big?
It is not that big. So that's a very good question. I mean, the Golden Mile is a very famous stretch of the coast within the municipality of Marbella. It's about 6 kilometers long between the famous port of Puerto Banús and Marbella town. It's not a city, it's a town. So it's much smaller scale than Dubai or Miami. But on this stretch of coast, you have a lot of beautiful properties. The Saudi royal family has a copy of the White House on this stretch of coast. Absolutely stunning. Then you have something called the New Golden Mile, which is the other side towards a town called Estepona. Estepona is now called the Garden of the Costa del Sol, the area we are in. It's been a success story in the last 5 years. So when someone mentions Marbella, it usually includes the towns around it. So the area becomes quite big, but it's absolutely not a city. And that's what a lot of people like. We don't have these sky-rise buildings and all the huge shopping centers. It's much more low-key and laid back, but still with the luxury.
The neighborhood you just mentioned is going west from Marbella?
The neighborhood I mentioned goes west from Marbella. Marbella to Puerto Banús, that's the Golden Mile. And then from Puerto Banús towards Estepona, if you see that on the map there, that's the New Golden Mile. There you have a resort called Los Flamingos, for example. That's where Barack Obama and Michelle stayed last time they were in Marbella. So it's an outspread area.
Did they stay at the Saudi White House, or did they get their own White House?
No, I don't think they were welcome. So they choose Los Flamingos instead.
And so I also heard about the development of large houses, it not being seasonal. So people are moving there so it also seemed to me that to not be like the 2-month season of the Hamptons or the 2-month season of St. Bart's. Is that true? You don't have a 2-month season. Okay.
No, absolutely not. When I started here like 30 years ago, most people would buy a retirement home and play a lot of golf because we have more than 70 golf courses in the area of Marbella, loads of them. Valderrama, for example, by Soto Grande, you probably heard of. So everyone who bought them, they were basically golf players and enjoyed the climate because it's the best in Europe. Now, the last 5 years, I would say the average age of our buyers is probably around 40 years. So people are still working, but commute from here, like Pia mentioned, the airport, you can fly to almost anywhere in the world. A lot of places direct. It's getting more and more commercial all the time. Malaga as such, which is where the airport is located, is now called the Silicon Valley of Spain. Loads of tech companies have their bases there. So now it's a lot of professional people moving here and starting networking and doing business from here. And then Pia mentioned as well, we have all the international schools, very good ones. So it's a great place for a family to live.
So Pia, can I ask you something? You've lived there your whole life. Is there, it seems to be growing tremendously. Is there any resistance to that at all? From like where you yearn for the way it used to be? Because when I was in St. Bart's just this past spring, I spoke to a lot of people and they said, yes, you know, it's different. The clientele is different. Like they used to all come here and go by the customs of what we did here. Now they come and there's so much global wealth and there's people that don't have any sense of sophistication and they just want you to do whatever they do. And they like move these tables and do this and do that. And a lot of the local people who've been there for a long time, they yearn for the way it used to be. So is Marbella handling that well with so many different people coming in?
There are.
Yes, basically the answer is yes, they're handling it well, but also because we have to consider that Marbella has always been an international destination. While it might have not been that sort of well-known internationally before, it was very well known for sort of the European jet set back in the 60s and 70s who were already coming down to Marbella. So it's a place where local people have always been used to dealing with an international clientele. So, you know, me being from here and also having seen, you know, in relationship to what Peter was saying, that how it's changed over the years, going from a very sort of resort feeling like town to, you know, a place where now you've got year-round activities and it's not so seasonal anymore. We've always sort of welcomed foreigners, you know, with open arms, because that's what we've been used to since Marbella started becoming a destination for people around Europe to come to.
I'm fascinated. I mean, I'm still trying to draw parallels to what else is it like. And it just seems an imperfect comparison to Miami, although I have to say, well, I mean, it's an imperfect comparison to Miami. I think of Miami as being the gateway to South America, Central America. But it seems to me Marbella must have an even greater diversity. You're pulling from Northern Europe, you're pulling from Africa.
Yes.
And now with United Airlines coming, you've got your fair share of Americans, which is too bad.
Exactly.
But it seems to me that's one of the great, you know, draws, is that if I'm really looking for a very diverse, that you might have it, you know, like more so than any of those other places you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Marbella is always, in terms of real estate, and people that have bought here, traditionally it's mainly been European. There was, you know, a lot of Arabic people coming in the 80s and 90s. Then there was sort of the wave of the Swedish, which, you know, are now back again in recent years. Then there's been Russians. There's always been British people. They consistently keep on showing up in the top 3 sort of nationalities that buy in our region. Belgian, Dutch, German, Norwegian. So fortunately, it's a place that in terms of real estate, we're not dependent on any 1 or 2 main nationalities. So it's very diversified. And, you know, you just walk out on a street any given day and you can hear it. You know, people are speaking all sorts of languages. So that's, I think, super enriching for the people that are living here and growing up here as a child as well. You know, you're exposed to all these you know, people that have all these different origins and nationalities and cultures that have come together into sort of one melting pot.
It seems to me that the closest comparison really is like Saint-Tropez, Nice, Cap d'Antibes, something like that along the French Riviera. Wouldn't that be like the either or? Is it Marbella, or are we going to go to, you know, the French Riviera?
The difference is
we
basically
are a competitive market. Sorry, Peter, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just jumping in. The climate, we always say, you know that, Pia, when someone is talking about the French Riviera or Italian, it's beautiful as well. The climate here in Marbella is totally different. We have 325 days of sunshine all year round. And it's much, much warmer than in France and Italy, although they are, of course, also by the Mediterranean. If you think about it, perhaps a bit like Palm Beach in Florida, it's a laid back place and everything is available to you. We have the beaches, of course, we have the diving, we have the golf, which I mentioned. You can go hiking. Basically, everything is about outdoor living.
Peter, have you
What
been
about-
to, have
sorry.
you been to Palm Beach lately? I wouldn't use
Not
it
lately.
and I wouldn't use it in the same sentence as laid back. Not since a certain ex-president moved in. No, not laid back at all.
You're probably right there, John.
Can we talk about opportunity though? For example, from an investor standpoint, or from looking for just a home, is there more opportunity, more real estate choices in Marbella than there would be along the French Riviera or, along the Italian coast?
I think you have the same opportunities in any popular place. What has happened the last, let's say, 4, 5, 6 years is that Marbella has become extremely popular. It's the go-to place in Europe if you want sunshine and a modern environment, yet in a beautiful countryside and setting. And yes, there are huge business opportunities. Our buyers, a lot of them buy perhaps 3, 4 houses, one for themselves and the other ones to rent out. And they get a very good return on their investment. Another very good business is to buy an existing house, a little bit like Anthema is doing, and refurbish it to top standards. So the business opportunities within the real estate sector today are endless, and it's booming, and it has been booming for many years, especially since after the pandemic, when I think people realized that, yes, we can work online. We don't have to be present at a certain place. We can have these online meetings, and it's led to kind of a movement of people from Northern Europe down here. And we're super happy about it. And everyone who comes here are happy. They do not regret it.
All right, I want to get
Do you
to
get
some
more
of the,
for less? Sorry, John. One more. Do you get more for less? Is it priced better than the French Riviera?
It always has been in the past. We're catching up in some areas. Some areas are getting on par with the French Riviera and the Italian. But in general, real estate in Spain is cheaper than in France. Having said that, with the attractionness of everything, prices are going up.
so I want to understand some of the basics. I should have started here, but how many households are we talking about? How big is the entire market?
The entire market
Roughly.
of Marbella, actually, officially, there are about 160,000 people, which sounds very little to you, registered in Marbella. The official figure is about 400,000. But that is Marbella as a municipality. When we talk about Marbella, we talk about Benavis, where we are at the moment. We talk about Estepona. We talk about the the communities close by. So we're probably talking about maybe, well, it's under 1 million, and it doubles or triples in the summer.
And Pia or Peter, how many houses are single family homes and or condos are on the market now, and how has that changed since before the pandemic? Roughly.
You have to bear in mind that, unfortunately, unlike in the United States, a lot of the information regarding selling prices, the history, the sales history of a property is not public here. So real estate isn't regulated in Spain. Unfortunately, we're consistently, waiting for the government to do something about it. So a lot of the times we lack that information. To know how many properties are on the market, Peter, I would think it's a little bit challenging to give an idea because there isn't an MLS system either. So as a buyer, when you're coming to Spain, that's one of the major difficulties, that you're having to there's not one specific place that you go to look for properties and you have, 100% confidence that all the properties that are listed for sale in Marbella, Benavides, and Estepona are in that one specific place. So you have to be sort of hopping around.
I'll jump in there, Pia. Funnily enough, we have a meeting every Tuesday with the staff in the office, and we just checked as good as we can, because as you say, it's not official like it would be in perhaps other countries and the States. But we did a little study of properties for sale above 1.5 million, or was it perhaps about 1.2 million? And there were 777 at the moment on the market.
700
and
total listings.
Total.
How has
And
that changed?
Might not be an accurate figure, but it's
how has that changed since the pandemic? What we've experienced here is that we have far fewer listings, that our transaction volume went up during the pandemic, and the transaction volume has come down because we have a lack of inventory. Is that the same situation?
I would say here what we have experienced is that since a lot of people now move here to live here with their families, the demand for single family villas has skyrocketed. Before the pandemic, we sold perhaps more apartments, townhouses, etc. But the demand for villas has gone up a lot because people live here. Before it was holiday.
So demand went up. What happened to supply, inventory? Has that diminished with rising interest rates?
In certain aspects of the market. Yeah, sorry, Peter.
No, go ahead, Pia, go ahead.
Yeah, continuing on what Peter has started to say, I think a lot of, considering that Marbella is a second, third, fourth home destination, many times clients don't really need mortgages. If they do take them, it's out of sort of a part of their financial strategy, but not because of they need them. So in that sense, because of the type of clients that we're catering to, interest rates haven't affected how many properties people are buying. But yes, in relation to the question that you asked, has supply diminished? Yes, it has, specifically in certain segments of the markets and for certain type of properties. So if you're looking for a property in a prime location in Marbella with sea views, contemporary build, you might not have that many options as you might have had pre-COVID.
Now remember, Roberto wanted to go in halvesies with me on a $5 million such a property. Those are all gone, and we have to go to what, a condo?
No, there's still plenty for you guys.
Okay.
So can you tell us, you talked about the geography. She goes from the beach up to the mountain, and I'm assuming where Oiven is up on the mountain a bit. Is there a premium to being on the mountain or being down towards the beach? And how far is Oiven from the beach?
The beachfront properties are always super popular because there's always someone who wants them. And it's a very, very safe investment. Then again, you have people who love La Zagaleta, where we are now, because of the fantastic views and the countryside. But we're not talking big distances, Roberto. It's 4 or 5 kilometers maximum in general.
So if you want to go to the beach, you can get there in 10, 15 minutes.
Normally you can, yeah, absolutely. It depends a little bit on traffic and where you are. La Zagaleta takes a little bit longer, but yeah, it's not a big deal.
Tell me about your relationship with Oivind. I mean, when our first show with Oivind and was in Norway, and I said, do you spend all your time in, I don't know if that's me. That's my son. I said, oh, do you spend all your time in Norway? And Oivind said, no, I split my time between the southern coast of Spain and Oslo. That's what we do in Europe. We hop a flight and we split our time. So I don't know if you can hear us, Oivind, and want to weigh in on this, but talk about the relationship, the Marbella real estate market relationship, and even your personal relationship on hopping a flight and finding it so easy and comfortable to split your time between cities?
The reason why I know Peter is because I bought my first apartment in Marbella. It's like, I think it was in 1999 or 2000, and then I paid like 62.5 million pesetas for the house, and when I paid it 4 years later, it was like 300,000 euros, 400,000 euros. The reason why I came here was that because I had a friend that had bought some apartments down here, and he said you can borrow my apartment, and then I went down here. I actually drove around the whole Spain, and then I came down here. I was reading in the book, not like now in the internet. Puerto Banús, you have to go to Puerto Banús, but I hadn't heard about it, so I had to find it out. But so I went down here in 2004. I bought my first apartment, and 2006 I started to read Spanish. So I learned Spanish during 3 years, and then I had a girlfriend from Spain. So I stayed here for back and forth for and then señorita. And then I went back and forth for 3 years, and then I sold the apartment and stayed more or less at home. But I was checking out Mallorca too. But I know this area so well, so it's a place to go back to. But
this is fascinating to me, Oyvind, because I think even though Pia said and Peter said, sure, you can afford Marbella, I don't know that people believe her. I think that it's such an exclusive, and these properties are so beautiful that I probably can't afford it. So it's really interesting to me that you didn't go down there to play. You went down there and bought an apartment, and that's interesting to me. And you actually were able to work there, and you worked and connected with other realtors. So it's interesting to me that you didn't just go down there to play, which you're underscoring some of Pia's points and John's, that it's becoming year-round. It's not just a playground, and it is affordable to regular people like realtors.
But the thing is that Peter convinced me so much that this was going to raise like 30% every year. So I bought it.
Was he right?
It didn't happen, Peter, but no.
There's look how red Peter is. He's like...
It was he has a really good salesman, this Peter Buresen. So I bought it, and I actually bought 3 more apartments too later. That was sold during the. But I didn't do really good business down here. But sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. It's just like that. But the thing is that I bought that apartment, and I had a good time here, and I'm coming back. But it's really important to tell you that maybe you want to tell me a little bit more later about this, Peter. But we call this is not just Marbella. You have Costa del Sol. It's going from Nerja. It's a little bit. It's like 1 hour away from Malaga, north, and it's going down to Gibraltar. And then on this, it's like 150 kilometers. It's like how much is it it's in miles? You have to count it 1.6. It's like 200 miles, if I'm right. And then you can buy yourself an apartment on that line, or even a family house you can buy there.
Okay, wait. Let's back up. So you talked about Marbella and how it's been very good for the last 20 years, but you're talking now about what, the Costa del Sol, and where is it in relation to Malaga?
Malaga is a little bit north of Malaga. You start Nerja.
Okay.
Nerja. Yes.
I see it.
I think you can call it Costa del Sol from Nerja, but
And then you're going back down to Gibraltar, where is Gibraltar is actually from UK state, you know. But
To the southwest.
you can go,
Okay.
and then on that line you have a lot of really nice, beautiful places. For example, you have Soto Grande down there. It's really beautiful. It's like Venezia. They call it the Venezia of Spain. It's like canals. Channels? No, canals. Yeah.
So
And then-
Peter, do you also look outside of and represent properties outside of, or are you just staying in the Golden Mile?
Well, in our case, we really try to stay between Marbella and Estepona. The coast becomes too long. It's basically too far to be in control of everything. But I think what Øyvind is trying to say is that the prices become a little bit more affordable once you move away from Marbella area. So this is not just for the rich and famous. Very close by, you can find much more affordable properties in the same climate.
So you said Marbella and what other town?
The one we mentioned before, Estepona, which is called the Garden of the Costa del Sol, because they've done it so beautifully with fountains and flowers, and everyone loves it.
Southwest of Marbella.
Correct, yes. Exactly.
And is it about an hour away?
No. It's if you drive from Marbella to this town, Estepona, it would take you perhaps 20-25 minutes.
Oh, it's nothing. And is that a
No.
quaint, sleepy town that has yet to be discovered, or am I too late?
A little bit too late, but there's still lots of good opportunities. This is close to where we said that Barack Obama and Michelle stayed.
Then it's been discovered. And can I get something on the water for $1 million or $2 million, or those days are past?
No, you can get something on the water for even from perhaps 700,000-800,000.
Wow.
Having said that, there's also apartments on the water there that cost up to 12-13 million euros. So it all depends. But no, you can still, for under $1 million, you can get something really good waterfront.
And what I hate to ask these tacky questions, but talk to me about the taxes and the other expenses as an American coming in. Is there some sort of is there a catch? I mean, I come in with my $1 million and I'm all excited, and then the EU says no, not so fast. Or is it easy?
No, you're more than welcome. It's easy. Anyone can buy a property here. Basically, there are, of course, costs involved in acquiring the property, which are property transfer tax and registry, notary, and that goes up to about 10, 11, 12%, depending on what kind of property, etc.
Okay, and then once I acquire that $1 million waterfront on the Spanish coast, what's it going to cost me annually for the taxes and whatever else, hidden charges?
Well, it will probably be in a community, so you have a charge, of course, for swimming pools and maintenance. You will pay an annual tax to the town hall, and if it would be in Estepona, it can vary from Benavis or Marbella. Every town hall has their rate. But to just take a figure out of the air, let's say a $1 million apartment in Estepona, that would probably put your rates at about 4,000 or 5,000 euros per year. So it's not too bad.
That's not bad at all. Sounds a heck of a lot better than Florida these days. You should catch our show.
A little bit more
on
for you,
uninsurable
John.
Florida.
A little bit more for you, John. Just a little.
Can I just
So
add?
can you-
Go ahead,
Can I
Pia.
just
Please,
add as
Pia,
well,
Pia, go ahead.
in relation to an American buying here, that we've got the golden visa scheme in Spain as well. So for purchases over 500,000 euros, you can obtain residency rights. You can extend those rights to your spouse and your children as well, and you hold them while you have the investment in that property. If you don't buy a property for over 500,000 euros, you can also deposit a minimum of 2 million euros in a Spanish bank account, and you would also be eligible to those residency rights.
So
And
it gives you access to, you can fly around the Schengen area as well, basically.
so Roberto in New York, they now have a mansion tax. Connecticut, we just adopted our mansion tax. I know it's a big deal out in LA. Are you guys tax friendly to the millionaires and billionaires, or
to the wealthy?
Yeah.
There's a very much sort of disputed tax that came in recently for net worths of over 3 million euros. But that's been disputed regionally and at state level as well. So we've yet to see if that will continue. It came into force, I believe, this year, and it's also applicable to those wealths that were existing last year as well. But like I said, we've yet to see if that continues, because it's been appealed a lot.
So let me ask you this. I'm overwhelmingly intrigued by Marbella. I mean, I really, really am. And I'm just curious. So as an outsider coming in, what's my strategy to get to know the city, to understand what properties could potentially be of interest and that type of thing? What is my strategy?
Because Americans, we like to read about it for 6 months on the internet and make sure and get super expert before we talk to a realtor. And it freaks me out. It freaks out Americans that we can't just go and look up the Zestimate and get a whole sense of the market and everything that's traded.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we operate. So the fact that you say that I have to go down there and have a relationship and talk to somebody, an insider like yourself, that's a new game for Americans. So
yeah,
how do we do that?
You can do it, on your own without the advice of a realtor. It might take a little bit more time. I usually so I would, if you're my best friend and you're American, you're moving here, I would say, if you can, rent for a while. If you've never been to Marbella, if it depends on how much of a hurry you're into, for buying a property, but stay here for a while. If it takes a few trips, get a good feel of what it's like living here in the summer, in the winter, the areas that you sort of end up going to for socializing, for dining, if you like going to the beach. And then very quickly you're going to start to get a sense of the distances, what neighborhoods are more sort of peaceful, which ones have more social life and activity. And then, obviously, it's always good to go in hand with a real estate agent who can then give you that extra and added information on, explaining why properties, in this area, which is actually right next to this neighborhood, have a higher price per square meter. And start to explain sort of the little secrets of each area.
Well, how do I pick a realtor? It seems like the only way you get good information is if you're totally plugged in. So I need a realtor who's totally plugged in. How do I pick a realtor? How do I know?
The thing is that all the realtors here, John, work together. Of course, we're fighting about the buyers and the vendors, but we have, just like you guys do, multiple listing systems. So I think Pia's advice is excellent. Check the area out, rent something, but then pick one realtor that you like, because that realtor will have access to all the properties, and it's doing yourself a favor and making it smoother.
You've been there since how long? You said 20 years, Peter?
30.
30. You getting the hang of it now?
More or less, maybe in a few years.
Is now the time I can come in and make money? You've been there 30 years. You got the long view. Is the bloom already off the rose, or can I still get in?
You're in the middle of the boom. It's a bit like the stock market. It's a bull market. We're on the up. So it's a good time to buy.
Okay, Pia, the close is yours. Tell us, what in conclusion do we really need to know about Marbella? Give me some good secrets about Marbella and wrap it up.
Marbella at the end of the day is a place where I think a lot of people feel at home here. And that's why we've seen consistently an increase of people choosing to make this their permanent home, or spending the majority of the year here. So I think that speaks for the place, the people, the environment, the lifestyle that people have access to. Yes, it's not, it's not New York City where it's like the hustle and bustle and that sort of excitement. It's a much quieter place. But I think, in the long run, people realize that, as a lifestyle option, as a destination where to set up their home, it offers the best of all worlds, really. I think someone mentioned before, we're 45 minutes away from Malaga City, which is a city of, I think, nearly 600,000 people. It's, the Silicon Valley of southern Spain. You've got Google setting up their cybersecurity center there. You've got all these tech companies, startups. So there's this sort of feeling of, a lot of exciting new things and creative people, talent moving to our region. So I think it's a good moment.
I have not missed the boom. All right. Thank you very much. In the last few seconds, I just want to thank John Brendmo of Antima Group, Pia Arietta, my friend at Knight Frank, Peter Burston of Marbella Estates, and of course, Oyvind Olstad, my good friend. Episode number 2 with you. We did Oslo, we've done Marbella. I don't know how you're going to top this, but I expect you to top this with the next European destination in about a month. Okay, Oyvind? And thank you, Roberto. I love doing the show with
Thank you, guys. Love you, brother.
All clear. Great job
Thank you,
today,
guys.
everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
This
Thank you
was
very
really
much.
great.
Thanks, bye.